Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last office hours of 2022. I'm Jeff Blankenburg. If you haven't been here before, we're here to answer all of your questions about Alexa development, voice design, ambient computing, you name it. That's what the point of this show is. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Kelly Wenzel. She's our director of B2B and developer programs, and I'll have her on in just a minute. But I wanted to start with a couple of announcements for all of you. First, we're going to be recapping all of 2022 and talk about 2023 with Kelly, but there's a few things that you should know about before we get into all of that. The first one is, if you didn't know, we have something called Alexa Insider, which is a destination, a website you can go and learn all about skills. But we launched a new one called Smart Home Insider. And the Smart Home Insider is a destination built specifically for smart home device makers. If you're looking for more information about how to build devices or how to get started thinking about building devices that respond to voice, I recommend checking out the Smart Home Insider, and we just dropped a link for you can check out. The next one I want to talk about related to smart home is Matter. We've been talking about Matter a good amount over the last 6 or so months. And last month, we announced our plans to deliver a high-quality Matter customer experience. Well, it's here. Our first phase is finally rolled out, and you can find more information about Matter and all the things related to it with Alexa here at the link on the screen. Finally, we have a couple of, well, not finally, I have so much more to share with you. I have a couple of other things that I want to talk about. We've made some new videos, simple kind of explainer videos on some of the concepts that you may or may not have used before in Alexa development. We have one for monetization that explains all of the different options you have for building skills that have monetization built in, whether that's paid skills or in-skill purchasing or a variety of other things. We also have a whole video dedicated, a video series, there's 2 of them, actually dedicated to our skill quality coach. If you haven't seen the skill quality coach, this is something that we announced at Alexa Live. And the idea behind the skill quality coach is to be a tool for you to help you improve your skills. It gives you a score, and that score can be arranged between 1 and 5 and lets you know how you can improve your skill. It gives you recommendations on things you may want to add. And so those videos are here available in the chat as well. The last 2 things that I want to talk about are, number 1, a video series that I've been working on all year called Alexa Innovators. I've gotten to travel all over the world talking to people about the cool things that they've done with Alexa. And the most recent one that we've released is from the race course in the UK called Ascot. I got to spend some time in the UK, just outside of London, at the racetrack, looking at how they use Alexa to place orders, to let the people that are sitting in their luxury boxes not only order just food, but merchandise and all sorts of other things. And we actually made 2 videos out of this trip. One talks about that big experience and how a customer's experience looks. But also, we did a behind-the-scenes deep dive where we talked to the people that built the technology that runs a lot of this stuff as well. So make sure you check those out. You can find them in YouTube. We have an Alexa Innovators series there. But again, we're sharing all the links here in the chat with you. Finally, I want to remind everybody, you're about to get started. You're probably going to take a little time off. And I want to make sure that you remember we're not going to be here next week. We're taking next week off, and we'll be back January 3rd, where we're going to start talking about things like CES and any other burning questions you may have come up with over your holiday break, where you probably built something awesome. So with all of that, it's time to get to the real content. It's time to bring Kelly on. I'm really excited to have this conversation. So with that, Kelly, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. That was a lot of announcements, but I think there's a lot of really cool stuff going on right here.
It's been a pretty big year, and I hope you see, like, I'm sporting the holiday red to like wrap up what has been a pretty big year for developers.
I appreciate. We need to put like big bows on our heads or something too. You know, put a bow on it. Did I lose you?
Hold on. I seem to have lost audio. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, it's back. I
Great.
think when I said that this might be a problem because I'm using my Echo Buds.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I invoke the name, something is going on here. So I may have to be careful. So anyway, let's just let go. Fingers crossed and that we're okay on audio.
We'll have to be good about that for sure. All right. So I want to get right into it. And I want to address the elephant in the room, because I think there's been a lot of conversations, a lot of things going on in the world, in the media, everything else.
Yeah.
The question I want you, as our director here, to talk about is, will Amazon continue to invest in Alexa?
Yeah. Yes. So you are, wow, you're going to start off with a bang. Yeah. So look, obviously there has been a lot of speculation in the news. That's without doubt. There's like one phrase in one article, one unnamed source, and suddenly that's the headline everywhere. And obviously that caused a lot of speculation, for sure. What I can tell you is the devices and services area remains a really important business for Amazon. We're going to continue to invest in new devices, new services, and new features for our customers. That's not going to change. I mean, you know better than anybody, Jeff, like millions of customers are interacting with Alexa billions of times every week. Alexa continues to see momentum in adoption. Like Alexa interactions increased more than 30% in the last year alone. Right. So I would say we're as optimistic about the future as we've ever been. This remains an important area of investment, not just for devices and services, but for Amazon.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that developers as a whole are really good at is looking at a statement like that, which thank you for that. It not only makes me feel good, but I think it makes the audience have a really good perspective on this. But developers are really good at looking for those edge cases. Well, she didn't talk about skills. She didn't talk about like third-party experiences that we're all building. So sure. How do we feel about that?
Well, considering that's the business I look after, right? You gave my title B2B and developer programs. And what does that mean? I'm responsible for the third-party community of builders, whether that's big brands who are building on and with Alexa, or our community of entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, hobbyists who are building skills on Alexa. And I think in this one, I would say you have to look back to look forward. And what I mean by that is Amazon has demonstrated historically, time and again, the importance of a third-party community in its various businesses. Look at Marketplace, Fulfilled by Amazon, Kindle, even the business that I first joined Amazon with, Amazon Pay, right? It is it's successful in large part because there is a third-party community. Our deep belief is that innovation can, will, and should come from everywhere. So what we're going to do is to continue and invest in the tool set that makes it possible for these brands and builders to build on and with Alexa.
Perfect. You've given me all the reassurance I need. So that's a really big positive, I think, for 2023. All right, so let's take a look back a little. We've had a variety of awesome things happen in 2022. And for you, what are some of the things that you're the most proud of that came out of Alexa this year?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. It's really been a big year. And I mean, obviously I don't get the opportunity to come on and talk to this audience very often. I'm not a developer. Maybe you could tell by like, you're dressed in, like casual developer office hours. I'm like fancy. And I did that specifically wrap up the end of the year. I think I want to go back to the Ascot video, and I'd like to be able to say, Alexa, bring me a beverage, please. Right. Maybe that's how we should wrap office hours. It's been a really big year. And I mean, there's a number of milestones internally that I am really proud of about our instrumentation of the developer journey and the developer experience. I think externally, the things that are more customer or developer facing, I would say the most recent one would be the Hour of AI that we did during Computer Science Week. And this is where we made it possible for STEM teachers and students age 14 and above to build an Alexa skill visually. So you needed no programming, you could do it visually with no device, no Alexa account, no programming skills. Thousands of students signed up. You were there when we did the end of year review. You got to see the map of the United States and like where everybody, students from all over the nation participated in this. And I got to see some of the videos that were sent in by teachers, some of it posted on social, some of it was just shared with leadership. We actually sent some up to Dave and Andy as well, showing these students just being so thrilled to develop and build with Alexa.
Yeah, it's the hour of AI was really interesting, and I was glad to get to be a small part of that as well. I got to be part of the video curriculum and teach students about how Alexa thinks and what
Yes.
the AI behind it looks like. It was really, really fun. And I hope we get to do more of those kinds of things where we're engaging students and we're really going out and embracing people that want to take advantage of this technology and are interested in how they can build their own stuff. And that leads us to a question I have for you. I know, as we think about the hour of AI and some of the other things we've done this year, Alexa Live tends to be this big event that we have every year.
I wasn't done with my favorite
Perfect.
accomplishments. Like I got more. I would say, the most recent one was the Hour of AI and that program. And just to think that, that's us seeding the future community of folks who I hope are attending and participating in this office hours, in a few years' time. I think that's pretty exciting. Alexa Live was a huge milestone moment for us. I like my team is also responsible for Alexa Global events. So when we're out at events like Code Mash and Voice Summit, or CES or Alexa Live, which is our proprietary inaugural developer event. This year was a pretty big milestone. It was our largest one yet. We had a lot of exciting features and products that were announced either GA or in dev preview or in private beta. But for me also, it was the level of participation from the community that I saw that was also really encouraging. So that was definitely high on the list of wins and big moments from 2022.
Yeah, and it's nice that you mentioned Code Mash and the Hour of AI. For those that don't know, I'm actually going to be at Code Mash in a couple of weeks. And at that event, we're actually going to be talking about the Hour of AI. We're going to be teaching students, because they have an entire kids track there. We're going to be teaching them all about how to use those new tools and be able to build their own Alexa skills without any coding required. It's going to be awesome.
Well, I think the final thing that I can't not talk about this if I talk about 2022, even though ironically this has been like many years in the making. It would be the whole Alexa Take Me to the Moon experience, and where we put Alexa as the first AI into space. So this was an epic, groundbreaking, truly a world first, and to be part of something where it's like, I think this is pretty special, where you get to be part of something where you're taking the origin story. So I'm assuming at some point before you've talked about the origin story of Alexa was literally Jeff Bezos being inspired by, the Star Trek computer. And right here we are, and literally putting an Echo Dot and Alexa onto the Orion spacecraft. And it was all part of what was called the Callisto technology demonstration, which was a technology demonstration between NASA, Lockheed Martin, WebEx by Cisco, and of course, Amazon Alexa. And we were testing to see how commercial technology might one day benefit, astronauts on future crewed missions. So you can imagine, how do we do that, right? There's no one on board this, the first mission, there was no one on board Orion. And so we had to create what was called a virtual crew experience. So for the duration of the mission, we were in this special operations suite at Mission Control. So like, kid you not, one floor below us was Mission Control for the International Space Station, which I got to go jaunt down to a couple times and, say hi. And around the corner from the original Mission Control room where the Apollo missions took place, which has now been fully restored, to just be able to operate in that space for that long. But also, so what we did is we brought in STEM teachers, space enthusiasts, influencers, teachers, former astronauts. Personally, I got to host someone from the European Space Agency, some of the principals, the other principals in the Orion development and Artemis 1 mission, and host them in this operation suite, giving commands to the onboard device, controlling the lights in the cabin, music, asking questions, getting telemetry. And we got to bring in some celebrities. So I personally hosted Taraji P. Henson, who I don't know if you know, but Taraji was in the movie Hidden Figures, which if you haven't seen it, it's such a good movie. I rewatched it with my kids in advance of the mission. My twins are almost 13, and it was just fabulous. And that was pretty cool too. So although I will tell you, for all, you should, you're already doing it. I was going to say you should share the link where all the videos are housed for people who want to go actually see the interactions. My favorite session, as much as I love Taraji and her energy, was hosting Amazon customers. So not surprisingly, like, right, we talk often about the impact that Alexa has on customers with accessibility challenges. And I got to host a vision impaired customer, Matthew, and a mobility impaired customer, wheelchair bound customer, Ronell, and got to actually take them into mission control and be there while they interacted with Alexa, and then heard how they use Alexa in their daily lives. And then also got to bring in an older adult customer, aka senior citizen customer, Mary, and hear also, her experience interacting with Alexa. It was just amazing. So truly like epic and incredible. And to get all their genuine reactions of how they use Alexa in their like daily lives to make a difference, it's so inspiring. So
it is. I remember the first time that I saw the video we put together for the show and tell feature that Alexa has. You can say, I won't say the name to set off headphones or any devices, but you can say, what am I holding? And if you're using an Echo Show that has a camera on it, it'll actually ask you to move it into the right position, and then it'll 100%. Actually read the device for you, and or read the thing you're holding for you. And to see people that wanted to live normal lives that couldn't see or whatever the disability might be able to take advantage of that stuff. I mean, a can of Campbell's soup looks the same no matter what it is if you can't see, right? There's no special markings on it.
Matthew talked about that exact feature, how it was one of his favorites. Like, he'd want a snack and he would hold up a bag of chips, like bags of chips, because he's like, my only other option previously was to open each one and get a taste. And it's like, well, I really didn't want barbecue right now, so I'm kind of done.
Right.
So yeah.
It's stories like that though that are so inspiring, and the thing that keeps me so incredibly engaged in this stuff, because to be able to provide those kind of features and technology to people that would otherwise not have an option is just remarkable.
Yeah.
All right.
It was great.
I know I have limited time with you. We've only got about 10 or 12 more minutes. So I want to get to another hard hitting question.
Oh, gee.
I like being able to talk
Bring
about
it on.
Fun, but
Bring it on.
I want to get deep here. So this is a question I think the audience is really going to like. At least, and this is true for me as well as anyone that's ever built a skill. Skill discovery and engagement has been an area everybody has been interested for a very long time. What are some of the investments that Amazon's made specifically to address that?
Well, there are a lot. I can tell you, for all that the community is talking about it internally, we are talking about it just as much. Probably the thing that tops the list in this area would be the routines kit. So this was announced at Alexa Live in dev preview. And essentially what it allows skill builders to do is craft pre-built routines and offer them during the skill session. So they operate in the background. They can be set by like ambient triggers. We talk about a world in which Alexa often will act when you don't have to give a command, but we'll just know. So it could be like a schedule or an alarm dismissal, some trigger activates the routine. And so it allows skill builders to deliver useful experiences even when the customer does not explicitly invoke the skill. And I mean, this is pretty important. So like what this does for a skill builder is, what we're seeing is there's significant lift in overall engagement for the skills that have offered these pre-built routines. I mean, and if you're interested, you can check out, I think there's ones, NPR has a good one, All India Radio. There's several in the sleep and relaxation area. I mean, I'll give you an example. I opted into one. I was just asked. Did I want to, I don't even remember, it's so long ago, what I was asked, but I have a weekend routine. So literally 5 o'clock on Friday, Alexa fires up and starts playing music, and it's like countdown, the weekend has started, and music goes off. Right. And so I don't know, you must use one. Do you have ones that you like?
I do. So I actually wanted to mention the NPR one, though, because I think it's a good example of things that people can do with their own skills. NPR obviously is a radio station. They have lots and lots of content and shows. And if you say, start my morning with NPR to your device, not only does it play the NPR stream for you, but it starts it with the weather. And so it's a way for you, they're composing all of this information together for you, but it's a way to kick off a series of events that all kind of happen sequentially, concluding with the NPR content. But for me, for routines, a lot of my routines revolve around smart home, like the crazy lights and everything I have behind me. Yep. But I have one specifically that is in a constant state of evolution, which is time for bed. My wife and I will be sitting downstairs watching TV with the kids or whatever, and it's time to call it a night. It's time to everybody go upstairs, go to your rooms, whatever. And so when I say that, it turns the TV off. It turns all the lights off on my first floor. It turns the light on in the bedrooms. It turns the fan on in my room to start cooling it down a little bit. And so it very easily, I don't have to spend those 5 minutes walking around my house and turning each individual light switch off, which I sometimes, my wife jokes with me that it's enabled laziness, right? Like you could go turn all those light switches off, but it's amazing.
We prefer to think of it as value add.
Yeah, exactly. But it's amazing to me to be able to just with one simple utterance have all of those things happen at once. It's amazing.
Well, what you're touching on is what are some of the benefits for customers. Like I talked about the benefits for developers is that you can drive increased engagement, but for customers, you can discover a contextually relevant routine or experience. It's easy to enable. Like I said, you just respond yes during a session and it's enabled. I guess I would say I see you're showing the link on the screen. So a couple things I would say. So first, for a developer to get started with ARC or Alexa Routines Kit, we don't need another acronym. It's in dev preview for all English locations for custom skills. We are excluding child-directed and HIPAA skills. And all you need to do is request access by filling out the interest form. And we're still learning, right? Because this is obviously it's out in developer preview. So it's not broadly available yet, but ideally, some of the developers listening today, or maybe who haven't already taken action, will do so and see what routines they might enable.
Yeah, and routines provide that stickiness that may otherwise have been challenging to put together. So it really is a great way to keep your customers coming back.
And again, if it's like a contextually relevant routine, something that adds value, right? It's going to happen automatically and you get them returning time and again.
Yep. All right. So Routines Kit is one. What else you got?
Not surprisingly, the other big topic we talk about is monetization, right? How are we helping our developers make money? And in this area, the primary feature is in skill purchasing. The ability to sell premium content within skills, like as subscriptions, one-time purchases, or consumables. And right now, this year there were 2 new locations that went GA, which was Canada and India. So that was a nice geographical expansion. We are very aware there's a long-standing request to expand to other locales, and all I can say is we're on it. We're working on it. And I think the other thing I would be remiss if I didn't talk about in this area would be Alexa Skill Deals. So this is a self-service way for developers to offer temporary discounts, and developers who are using that feature have reported, right? Like everybody loves a deal. Everybody loves to save, that they're seeing incremental revenue growth as a result of those features.
That's great. I'm trying to be conscious of time here because I have a lot more things that I want to talk to you about. Is there anything else in the making money side of things? Oh, we lost you again.
I lost your audio. Can you hear me?
I can.
I can't hear you.
That's not ideal.
How
about now?
Nope. I am not sure what we did to trigger these silly headset. Hold on a sec. I think I'm going to just reset them. If I turn them off, hopefully they'll just reset and then come back. Sorry, Jeff.
That's all right.
I don't know if I have you just through the monitor now.
We are an audience of people. I know she can't hear me. It's okay. We are an audience of people that are used to technology maybe not functioning the way we like it all the time. So I think that's
well. As long as you're telling me that you guys can hear me okay without the headset, I'm going to continue, because literally these things were going bananas every time I was saying the A word, which is kind of a lot during this session. So as long as audio is good to hear, we'll keep going this way. Well, listen, I wasn't done on monetization. I mean, I think one of the other things that we spent a lot of time on this year was our rev share agreement, and how do we make it possible for our developers to keep more of what they earn. So, starting in Q2 of this year, all eligible developers earning less than $1 million via ISP or paid skills saw their revenue share increase from 70% to 80%. And so that's a pretty big deal. And we made it possible that you could earn an extra 10% back through promotional credits. So promotional credits are like one way that we could help you actually market your skill to Alexa consumers. So the net of all of this is that our developers can keep up to 90% of the total revenue they've generated through Alexa skills from ISP and paid skills.
Yep. Are we back? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Good. I wasn't sure. Okay. So I think that revenue share is a good story too, because we started it at 70-30, and the fact that we're able to give more and more of the money that developers are earning back to the developers is fantastic.
Yes. I think the other area I know that I've spent a lot of time on with my team, and I think you guys recently did an office hours on this, would be the shopping kit. So, this is about beyond digital goods, also making progress for developers, their ability to sell physical goods. So we announced Alexa Shopping Kit at Alexa Live, a common theme. And I think it's important to note, this is not a single feature, right? This is a suite of shopping features that enable you to embed shopping experiences within your skills and earn money. So the first two features that went GA were 2 shopping actions. So you think about an action about something like add to cart and buy, which were the first 2 actions that went GA in all locales. And so you can surface relevant products sold on Amazon within the skill and allow customers to buy it immediately or add it to their skill for later. So the example, I think, the example I like, because if you could see in my office on my floor next to me is my yoga mat, would be like a yoga skill. And if you wanted to surface a mat or yoga blocks or a strap in the skill, you could. I mean, it's up to you. You get to determine what products you think are contextually relevant for your customers, and then Alexa does the rest.
Yep. Yeah, I've talked about building a skill that reviews board games. And if people like the board game or the review that you did, they can go ahead and buy the board game directly from Amazon.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, it's interesting. I've even heard some stories about, audio sounds, which are very popular on Alexa. And you would think maybe that wouldn't be a great place to be surfacing products. But in fact, maybe it's well, there's this lavender balm or this eye mask that might help you sleep better. There are products, and I feel like I've said this phrase 3 times already today, but I think it's really important, which is about contextual relevance. Is it adding value in that moment, in that experience to the customer? And then it makes sense.
Yep.
And then, with Shopping Skills Kit, the other and most recent feature to go live is all right, so how do you actually make money? Which is, we took the largest affiliate marketing program in the world, Amazon Associates, and we extended that to Alexa. So that's currently GA in the US and the UK, which means our devs can earn up to 10% commission on eligible Amazon purchases that are referred from your skills.
Yep. Yeah, which is a nice way to make some money without having to hold inventory or make products in any way. You just sell things that already exist and get a cut of that. That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm excited about that one. I'm excited to see that traction. I mean, like I said, it's our newest feature. It's only been out a few weeks, but really excited to see where that goes.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that one as well. I think that there's a lot of opportunity, like board games, like yoga mats.
Yeah.
But across the board, I think there's a lot of interesting ways that people can offer products to their customers that, like you said, are contextually relevant and make sense and add value. I think that's excellent. Okay, we have a lot more to cover, but I know that you were limited on time today. So is there?
I can keep going. No,
okay.
I can. Look, I'm here for you guys. So, like I said, I'm for this audience. I mean, other than them getting to see me when I present at Alexa Live or doing this, like I'm generally behind the scenes, working on strategy and direction and wrangling products and trying to help get them out to market. But I'm here for you guys. So if you want to go a little bit longer, I can.
Awesome. Well, I know we have some other things to talk about, but the audience has a couple of questions. Now, one of the things that I always like to qualify these with is that these generally come from people that are working with something. Maybe they've fought a battle or have had a good or bad experience. But on top of all of that, there are times where it's okay not to know. And so I want to prepare you and the audience that I have not prepared you for these questions. And these
the
are things
only skill I have built, Jeff, has been with you. So
I know. No, these are just about like features and availability and things like that. So I know you came from the world of Amazon Pay, and Don on YouTube asked, is Amazon Pay for Alexa still a product that is seeing developer time investments? I don't know the answer to that question, and I don't know if you know, but I thought I would ask that because Don has done a lot of work.
I don't think it is. But because I am not 100% sure of my answer, this is one I would say you need to let us go back and check and revert and make sure we're giving you a precise update.
Perfect. And then the other one, we talked about HIPAA skills a little earlier, and Danny Lua on Twitch said, can you give some updates about HIPAA skills? They had some deleted from the store without explanation a few days ago, and they more want to know about, like, is there a future for HIPAA skills? He's the co-founder of a skill agency, and their customers are wondering what's going to happen to the skills that they've built.
Yeah, that's another one I would have to revert on. I know there's been some discussion about HIPAA-related skills and what will happen with those going forward. But because I haven't been directly involved, I don't want to misspeak. So I think this is one I'd have to go back and talk to the product lead and understand, what is the plan. But I do know it's been an area of discussion.
Perfect.
Just given, how Amazon is about data and privacy and HIPAA related skills there, that is a next level bar, right? That's required. So I think perhaps there's some conversation about that, but I don't have the specifics.
And honestly, the way you address both of those questions are exactly the way I would have as well. I'd need to dig in and really have a deeper conversation with the pay team, with the HIPAA team, to figure out how these things are going to work out. And so what we'll promise to do is talk to the product teams and see what kind of responses we can get, and we'll bring those to a future episode of Office Hours.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly. So we were talking about discoverability. We were talking about monetization. And I know one of the other big features that I was excited about in 2022 was the skill quality coach.
Yeah.
So do you want to spend a little time talking about that?
Of course I do. Like, I feel like we talk about quality all the time internally. Obviously it is such a critical component to a delightful CX, a customer experience. And I think we've made enormous investments and strides in this area this year. So you may remember, again, at Alexa Live in July, we launched Skill Quality Coach. So Skill Quality Coach is like your guide, essentially. It's learning on your behalf always, and it's getting smarter about what do we see as the common set of features in our most successful skills, right? Like, so we're working backwards from, okay, let's look at where we've demonstrated success, good customer experience, and it is implicit and explicit customer feedback, as well as like deconstructing what features are involved. So the coach evaluates the skill, assigns it a score. The skill quality score is a number between 0 and 5. The higher the number, the higher the quality. And it is based on several aspects of design. So like I said, measures of implicit and explicit feedback. And then, so you have two components, the skill quality coach and the skill quality score. So the score is like, here's your grade, right? But imagine the coach is like your tutor who's there to help you get better and smarter. And the coach will give you personalized recommendations on skill by skill, how to improve. And so if you haven't checked it out, I would say go into the dev console. You can see what your score is. You can track it. You can get specific recommendations. And the recommendations are generally like best practices that correlate with, successful skills. It's going to suggest features that we see improve skill response. Like a big one, not surprisingly, would be multimodal, right? Multimodal is growing so quickly. And we see skills that are multimodal are having great engagement. So that would be an obvious one. Or features that you can implement to improve the quality of interactions, or things like even how to improve performance, like reducing latency. And it's interesting, like I wouldn't call it quite gamified necessarily. However, it's been interesting to see like, wow, now that there's a score, I think like our devs are a bunch of high achievers, because we definitely see traction with the number of folks who are logged into console, evaluating, implementing, and actually able to raise their quality score. That's very exciting to us, right? Because quality is, it's just critical. It's a critical part of the customer experience, and getting not just skill discovery, but like getting skills used and that user retention. If you're delivering a good experience, well, then of course customers will keep coming back for more.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, there's a double-edged sword there for sure. How do I find new people? But you can't just burn through those people either. You need to.
That's exactly right. You want it Jeff, what's that phrase you hear me say all the time internally? Yes, and it's a yes, and yes, you want new customers, but you want to delight them so that they keep coming back. You don't have a leaky bucket.
Exactly. All right. Very briefly, I know that I've spent some time here talking about the Alexa Learning Lab and the APL course and some other things that are happening there. But what are your thoughts on Learning Lab?
I'm really excited about Learning Lab. The idea that we are, so I'll just say this. I was pretty candid at the start of this office hours. Like, I'm not a developer. So in all honesty, guys, in the beginning of the year, Jeff sat me and our entire organization down and put us through the build a skill experience, everybody. And it was so full of learning for us, like what things were easy, what things were logical, what things were maybe not as logical as they could have been.
You're putting that on me. I like it.
And it's hard work to do this. And I love the idea that we now have an AI-driven platform that is specifically designed to make it easier for our developers to learn how to do it. So the first course focuses on APL. Why? Because as I just said, we are seeing, Alexa presentation language obviously is key for being able to deliver a multimodal skill. And we see multimodal as, an area that's just up and to the right in terms of growth. So it seemed like a very logical area to start. But I think it does a couple things. For one, it gives us lots of learnings about where are those points of friction in the developer journey that we need to do a better job of explaining and simplifying and making it easier. But it also helps the developer understand, where is their area of mastery, where do they have opportunities, and how do they, get where they need to go more quickly. And that, I just see this as, really foundational for the future. And I look forward to bringing, I'm not going to say, because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I would expect at Alexa Live, you'd see us be announcing other skills. Like, I'm aware of the other curriculum areas that we are considering. And all I will say is they align with feedback from this community about areas of friction and pain or help where they need support.
Awesome. Phelpsinc.net on Twitch just said that he found the APL course very helpful for a lot of the foundational concepts for APL. And then if you pair that with our Slack channel, he said it's good stuff. It makes it very, very easy to have not only a community of people. I think we're inching up on 3,000 people but then also having a solid curriculum to pull on when you need it as well.
And don't you do like APL Power Hour? Aren't you increasing that?
Not currently. That is something that we've been talking about, though. Yeah, is we're working with the APL team. Folks have seen Kai Lurch and Karthik Raghavathy here, and they're going to be on more regularly as a way to provide more feedback, more opportunities.
I think twice per quarter, right? You guys are going to have them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's good. All right, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I want to talk about the future a little bit and what's coming in 2023. Mm-hmm. So as we've made decisions, and there's no shortage of meetings and discussions and documents and all sorts of things that we're going through. What are the things that you think developers are going to be the most excited about in 2023?
Well, I hope CES, considering we are hard at work right now. As I mentioned, Alexa Global Events also falls in my team, my remit. And so I would just say CES, Consumer Electronics Show, is right around the corner. Whoever decided to put that thing right after the holidays, the first week of January, thank you very much. That's me in my sarcastic voice. Yeah. But we'll start the year with so many announcements from Amazon, Alexa, and our partner community. So we kind of start the year with a bang. And I think the other one that I'm really excited about, Jeff, is promoted skills.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is something that developers have been asking for quite a while.
Yeah, they want to be able to have their hand on the wheel.
Yep.
And be able to directly drive discovery and engagement for their skills. So that feature will be coming out in Q1. I don't have the exact date. We're actually still trying to finalize it now. But I am super excited for that to come to market. It's like, you can, I hope anyway, the community hears, like, we're listening. We hear you, we're listening. And sometimes, it takes longer than you think to get these things done and out the door and in the hands of the people that matter. But we are listening. And that one is one that I know just goes squarely to a longstanding, developer ask. So really excited for that.
I think it's one of those things that, the community as a whole may not realize all of the work that's going on behind the scenes to try to support them. When they talk in Slack, we're paying attention. When they ask questions here in office hours, we're recording those. We're taking them to the product team. We're offering them
absolutely
guidance and
closing the loop.
Yeah.
When they're filling out features on user voice, I don't know if they see it as user voice or if they see it as something else, but like that construct where we're like, vote on the features that you most want, and then closing loop with the product teams. Yep. And then I also think that there are more features coming out around monetization and shopping kit in 2023. So there will be 2 more shopping actions, like add to list and recommended products, which I think, that's also going to be music to our international developers, because we will expand Amazon Associates on Alexa beyond the US and the UK in 2023. So that's like a real monetization opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, we have a really solid international contingent, and every time we launch something cool in the US or in a basic geography, that's one of the first questions. When can I get that? When can I get my hands on it?
Yeah.
So that's good to hear that that's coming in 2020.
Well, listen, I think the final thing, like we're kind of already talking about this, but I would just say, I already mentioned I'm not a developer, but I am developer obsessed. And I guess, can I be selfish for a minute and ask for something from the audience?
Yeah.
I would like to ask everybody, if you have not already done it, to please take a few moments to fill out the annual survey that we do of our 3P developer community. So I joined Alexa in January of last year. I'm coming on my 2nd year anniversary in this role with this team in this function. And last year was excited. Amazon has many mechanisms to collect feedback. You just mentioned some of the informal ones. One of the formal ones that we put in place was this annual developer survey. And so this is the 2nd wave of that survey. It's out in market now. Team, if you, those of you like Tams and Jamie, Phoebe, whoever you're running the show, if you could put the link in, I would love it. Please take the 20 minutes and let us know how we're doing, because I can tell you the feedback that we got from last year's survey absolutely drove improvements that we were making this year. Improvements in certification. You may have noticed we spent a lot more time talking about the certification process and how it works. And here are tips to get through it, because it showed up as an area of friction. So we got on it, and, we're working on it. Support, documentation, analytics, like these were all key themes. And also, I didn't spend a lot of time talking about them today because I kind of spent the time on the big rocks like discovery, engagement, and monetization. But we made strides in all of those areas too, and I think they're important. And so we continue to seek guidance from the community about what's important on those areas. Like, you can weigh in on, have you seen a difference? Like, can you tell we're paying attention? So I'm eager for all of that feedback. So that would be my ask, if I can make one. Of the community.
There's been some feedback in the chat. Some people have already done it, and they said it was long. It is a thorough survey, and we really are.
It is a thorough survey. Well, listen, here's let me say something. We actually considered doing this twice a year, like to pulse, and then we realized that's too much work. That would not be developer friendly. It might be developer obsessed to learn, but it wouldn't be developer friendly. So we are only doing this once a year. And if you think about this, like, this is the format that we are using to capture all this data, and it goes all the way up the chain on how are we doing. And so I realize it might be a little long. I prefer to think that, your word is thorough. And, the other thing that's really clear to me, Jeff, like, just from the community events you run, from the Slack channel and the data that I see on that, you've got we have a very passionate community of developers. So I'd like to believe they're all willing and they're not shy either. They're going to give us feedback on how we're doing.
They're definitely willing to share their feedback for sure. One of the things that was recommended, and this might tie very nicely into a project that I'm putting some documentation together right now, is that the survey should be done by voice. Very, very interesting concept, and it may tie well into the skill that I've been talking to you about. We'll see how that all comes together, but that might be an opportunity for next year.
All right, look, I love the opportunity to raise the bar, do something different. We'll see what the research team can do with that. That's very cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Kelly, I have 13 minutes left in this broadcast, and there are still a good number of questions that I haven't gotten to.
Okay.
Would you like to stick around as I answer those, or would you like to call it a day?
I think I'm good. Well, unless you want me to stay, I think I was gonna head and get prep actually for my next meeting, but I'm happy to stay around if you want me.
No, I think it's okay. I would be happy to take on the rest of these questions, but I do really appreciate the time that you spent with us today. I think it's good for everybody to get some visibility into exactly how we're thinking and what Alexa's doing and how important it is to Amazon.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for the time. I hope the recap has been helpful. I'm always happy for feedback. Please do check out some of the links that we've shared. And I'll just take a moment to say happy holidays, happy new year. Thank you for all of your continued passion, innovation, and support on behalf of Alexa. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much. I will see you soon.
Bye, Jeff.
All right, everybody. I'm going to try to dig through the immense pile of chat that we have left. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. It really is quite an opportunity to get someone like Kelly to join us. And I hope that we can do more of those kinds of things in the near future. I do love the idea of a voice survey, though. And now I've got to think about how to build that. It's going to lean heavily on the search query slot, but I think we can do it. I think we'll just have to figure some things out. So let me see if I can dig through the lengthy chat that I have here in front of me and see if I can address anything. Brian Tarbox, very, very early on, asked about an investment in better error handling and reporting. I think you probably are referring to the error messages that we get, especially in the APL world. I know those can be awfully tricky. But then also on the reporting side, I assume you're referring to like our analytics tab and some of the things that are there. As we've talked about on this broadcast before, you will see over and over again that we are providing your feedback, whether that's that you don't like the analytics that are being provided, or you need a deeper view, or even just need an explanation of what this data really means. Brian, your feedback is loud and clear, so I'm glad that you shared that. I hope all of you also took away from all of this just how invested Amazon is in Alexa. I, for one, am someone that is still incredibly excited about the future of voice and ambient computing and all the things that we can do with multimodal. And to hear someone other than me say it once in a while is really, really refreshing. So I'm glad that we had Kelly here to share that as well. All right, let's see. Oxygen Box said, I could use a refresh of my Alexa developer hoodie. All things we've been talking about. I hope that at some point we'll have a pretty amazing selection of swag, or at least options for you guys to make your own. But we'll figure out something that we can do hopefully in the near future. I can't promise anything for 2023, but stranger things have happened. So we'll see where we go with that. Okay. Brian sounds like he's still struggling with the fallback intent. It's not associating any of your intents with the fallback, so you have zero insight into what the customer said to get the fallback. Some help here would be great. Brian, I know that I've had you open a ticket before to go in and dig into what's going on with your fallback intent. And I think some of the responses were helpful in some regard. But if you're still having issues, if you still have a ticket open, I would recommend reaching out to me if you want to escalate that, and we can try to get somebody that's going to take a deeper look at that, because I know especially for your Premier League skill and some of the other stuff that you're working on, that's incredibly, one, frustrating, but two, that presents a challenge for you to be able to improve and grow your skill the way you want to. So QU311, or Quell, as I discovered a few months ago. Does anyone know if the new version of Alexa Auto has a USB-C plug? I don't believe so. Now, I'd have to go look at the product page on the Alexa Auto on Amazon, but I don't believe so. So I think they're all still USB-A, from what I recall. Let's see. Phelpsings.net says he was at that conference and it was great to see Alexa there. I was glad to see you there, Phelpsing. I'm glad you were there too. Habuma is going to be at CodeMash. He's actually also giving a talk on Alexa there. So it'll be good to see you there in the flesh, Habuma. Hopefully we'll get some time to hang out. There was a couple of people that talked about ChatGPT. Damien was one of them on YouTube, and he said, OpenAI's ChatGPT has caught people's imagination over the last couple of weeks. Any thoughts on its impact on Alexa as a service or for skills developers? I've played with it a bit myself. I've found a variety of ways to talk to it about Alexa. One of the ways was, thinking about strategy, like what's a good skill that I should build, or what's something that effective way I could do this. But I also asked it to write me a skill, like actually write the code to do that. And I was amazed. It produced pretty decent Node.js code that was using the SDK. Now, again, it's only writing the file. So there's a lot of limitations. It's not giving me an entire project. It was just giving me the one code file. So I would have to know to incorporate the SDK and incorporate a bunch of other Node packages. But in general, the code that it wrote was pretty spot on. It was pretty exciting to see. Damien, to answer your question directly, I don't think there's going to be any direct impact on ChatGPT. I've actually been curious to talk with our science organization to see what their thoughts are, or if they have anything that looks or acts something like that. But no, I don't expect that it's going to have any direct impact on the things that are happening with Alexa. Quell also wanted to know about Alexa Blueprints. They said Alexa Blueprints is a cool feature, and I just lost it. Alexa Blueprints is a cool feature. Can we do math inside of a blueprint? So blueprints are kind of predefined code, and all that you really get to do with blueprints is add additional content to them. So I don't think that there is a calculator style blueprint, but Alexa just on her own can do math problems for you and do any kind of simple arithmetic. But if you're looking for a blueprint as a way to build a customized experience that requires some logic by you, no, blueprints are not the thing for you today. There are lots and lots of great templates out there that would be good starter kits, but no, blueprints are kind of a standalone, think of it this way. You can build stories, you can build Mad Libs, you can fill out forms that will let it randomly select somebody to start a game or to do the dishes or something like that, but you can't change the logic. And again, feedback that we've heard loud and clear, I'm hoping that that's something that our product team looks into, because I think that there is a lot of benefit in using the blueprints that we have today. There's 50 or so of them. Being able to use those as starter kits for your own skills by taking that code and modifying it. But that's still something that's yet to come. So we'll see where we can get on that. Benjamin Anderson, this is some good feedback on our developer docs, said the developer docs are a little convoluted because the documentation is huge. Totally agree. There's so much to know and interact with on Alexa. I don't think you have any option but huge. But it says, after reading the entire APL docs, and then I had to go back and read the SMAPI docs, it can get pretty confusing. Benjamin, I totally agree. I've actually said many times that learning how to build an Alexa skill on its own is a pretty decent sized project. And then when someone says, hey, you should add APL to that skill, you need to take all of the time and energy and learning that you did to build a skill and now spend that much more just to really build an amazing APL experience. There's a decent learning curve on a lot of this technology. And it's unfortunate that it works that way. I mean, software development in general is a lifelong learning opportunity, let's call it. But you'll always be in a position where there's something new to learn or something more to do. And so I always recommend work through your project. It's one thing to try and go read and understand everything and try to ingest it. But I always recommend instead take it piece by piece. Okay, how do I get something on the screen? Okay, now that I've got a color on the screen, how do I add text? And I find that if I move that way, what do they say? You can eat the elephant eventually. But like you take very, very small bites, and eventually, before you know it, you're like, I love APL. This is fantastic. I know how to do all of these things. Okay, I have 4 minutes left. Let's see how many more things I can get through here. I think we're making good progress. Damien also said the smart home control is also a life changer for people with disabilities. Completely agree. The ability to control your house, because there's a lot of things about just your standard house that are not built with disabilities in mind, especially if you think about light switches that are hard to reach, or like behind a countertop. Someone that's in a wheelchair doesn't have the ability to reach those. But if you make that a smart switch, now they can do everything that they need to do there. All right, we move on. We're talking about APL and NPR, the Alexa Resource Kit. It was an interesting conversation I saw some of you having about Amazon Associates and how it drops you if you don't make sales. I will tell all of you, I have been on Amazon Associates, independent of Alexa, but I've been on Amazon Associates for probably 21 years. And there are years that I don't sell things. And then there will be months where I sell a whole bunch of stuff because of a blog post that I wrote or whatever it might be. And I've never been dropped. So I was surprised to hear you guys talk about that. I hope that's not the case. But I don't know the answer to that specifically. Let's see. Phelps Saints wanted to know if there's any links to take advantage of the Amazon promotional opportunities. Not yet. That was one of the things that Kelly talked about will be coming in 2023. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing more with you all when that's available. Benjamin said APL is like if CSS and JSON had a baby. That's not far off, actually. That's a pretty decent analogy. Let's see. Lots of feedback about the survey and how it was long and required a lot. But I hope you guys got a lot out of today's session, learned a few things, and hopefully as you head into your, hopefully a small holiday break or take some time off for the new year, you have some energy to go build something cool or add something to a skill you already have. Right. Let's see if there's anything else. Awesome. I think I caught all the way up. So hopefully I didn't miss your question as I was quickly scrolling through the list. This is our last episode of 2022. It's been a pleasure. I think we've done 48 or 49 episodes, which is a lot to do this every single week. So I really do appreciate all of you that tune in and participate and join the chat. And if you haven't, if you miss out on this and you're like, man, what am I going to do next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern? Jump into Slack. Join us in Slack. People will be there. People will be building stuff. I can't recommend it enough. Spend a little time in Slack, and you'll find very quickly that there's lots of people to talk with, lots of answers to be found, and in some cases, answers to be provided. So this community is fantastic. I am so glad to be a small part of it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're all going to build in 2023. So have a great holiday. Have a great new year. And I look forward to seeing all of you the week of January 2nd. Take care, everybody.